Hey guys, Allison here. Well, we are living in a time of profound division, and it's very difficult because we are really called to love one another, to love everyone, right? Love our enemies. And yet, it's really hard. It's really hard in this world where we see sometimes what amounts to pure evil and people getting away with it, and people who wield power who really, from all appearances are evil or have given themselves over to evil, all right? But from our perspective, they may come across as evil. So how do we love these people that emotionally we hate, right? We're feeling hatred. First of all, I think a couple of things is that we need to separate out the behavior from the person. That we hate what they do, we hate perhaps things they say, we hate maybe what they stand for, but they are still loved by God. So how do we love them? God doesn't command us to like them. He commands us to love one another. So one thing is, obviously, we need to pray for them. And if there's anybody in particular who really gets under your skin, try to make an effort to pray for them by name. Just a Hail Mary every day, make a commitment, because it frees you. It frees your heart. Otherwise, we can get really, we give the devil a foothold when we give into hatred. All right, again, hate the sin, love the sinner. Now, in many cases, and maybe it's not just the players on the world stage, but maybe it hits a little bit closer to home. People you know, people you work with, people in your family that really get under your skin, or they're just really obnoxious and you really just don't like them. And maybe they've been really mean to you. Maybe they've really hurt you. In sales and in public speaking, they always tell you, because it's intimidating to go in front of a lot of people. I used to do a lot of public speaking, and it's intimidating to get up in front of thousands of people. And they say, picture them in their underwear. Why? Because it kind of equalizes them, all right? They may look like they're dressed, but picture them all in their underwear. Now, what I would suggest is a variation on that. Picture them as a child crying. I think the great story, A Christmas Carol, we go back to Christmas past, and we have sympathy for Ebenezer Scrooge, right? Because we see he was wounded as a child, and almost everybody is. We don't get out of life unscathed, right? And some are more wounded than others, and some didn't have the advantage of maybe a loving person in their life. And some maybe had all the advantages and still chose evil, whatever it is. Picture them as a crying child. Pray for them. And again, if there are particular people that have got under your skin, pray for them by name. And if there are people who have hurt you, pray for them, because that's what God tells us to do. We're not going to get past the division with more hatred. We're not going to get past the division with more division, right? We need to pray for one another. And God wants you to be free. And when we focus on it, it just takes up so much emotional energy on our part. It takes up so much room in our mind and in our heart. The other thing is, turn away. We don't have to keep looking at it. All right, there is a lot of evil going on in the world right now, and it can be compelling to, either turn on the news or turn on alternative media, podcasts and stuff like that. Monitor how it's making you feel. Are you feeling like a better Christian, more loving, more hopeful, more faithful? Or are you feeling dejected? Are you feeling miserable? Are you feeling angry all the time? That's a sign. Pull back. Spend more time in prayer. Focus on God. Focus on how much He loves them. And also focus on people maybe that you know, or even people in public figures who have had amazing conversions. I think of Dr. Bernard Nathanson, who was one of the founders of the National Association for the Repeal of Abortion Laws in New York. And he was really very personally responsible for getting abortion legalized in New York. Well, that man, I knew him back in the day when I was doing pro-life work. And at first he was kind of like very standoffish and cold, but he went through a major conversion. He changed his mind on abortion when he saw sonograms and ultrasounds that really this was a child being killed. He originally came to his conviction because he saw some botched coat hanger abortions or whatever. So he had a good sentiment, but he was wrong. And he admits that he unleashed a terrible evil. But this man went through a major conversion, was so profoundly sorry for what he'd done, worked tirelessly to try to reverse the damage he'd done. He became a Catholic. It was an amazing thing. And there are so many countless stories like that. So the people who seem irredeemable aren't. Now, not everybody's going to be converted, but you will get peace in your heart when you pray for them. And like I said, picture that wounded child. Picture them crying, because inside of each of us, there's a child still there, right? It's kind of, healing the inner child. It's important. And, there's a magical child. We need to keep that childlike quality, right? And yet there are so many people who have wounded inner children. And that can often lead them to be bitter or nasty or whatever. And particularly the people that, like I said, that are in our own circles. Sometimes you got to kill them with kindness, but absolutely pray for them. The goal is your freedom. And the goal is to get rid of all this division. And it's not going to be done with more division. Just makes sense. I hope you find that helpful. God bless you.